Alrighty. Give it a second here. No, we don't have to listen to me. We'll wait for everyone to kind of filter in here, and then we'll do our usual intro. How's everyone doing so far? Is everything working fine? Everything good? I hope it is. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Nate, and welcome back to another weather content that we provide, whether it's a live stream or a YouTube video. You know, we wanted to provide something here today, and obviously the main reason why we are up here live right now is because we currently have rapidly intensifying Major Hurricane Lee that is currently ongoing. They also have aircraft reconnaissance that are currently going into Lee right now as we speak, and we're going to be talking about their winds and the pressure and all that stuff and whether or not it could be a Category 5. It's forecasted to become a Category 5 with a maximum wind of, I believe, 165 miles per hour. It could even be stronger than that. So I want to talk about Lee and if there's any changes that has happened within the forecast. This live stream's not going to be very long here, guys. We're probably talking about 30 to 40 minutes. But I want to I want to talk to you guys about something here. And if you guys have been paying attention to my social media at all, you guys have known that I am not having a great day at all today. And I'm going to talk about it because, number one, I feel like I should be transparent. But number two, I'm not going to be too transparent to the point to where like I expose everything, you know. But I want to be transparent with you all. And so I have designated this segment before we get into Major Hurricane Lee as my mental health check. Obviously, mental health is a very serious thing. Depression, anxiety, all sorts of things. People go through it. And, you know, sure, people don't have the same feeling and responses to it. Mental health is a significant issue. And I 100% advise that if you are struggling with any sort of issues whatsoever, whether it's form of abuse from other people or you are just depressed of whatever sort, I want you guys to be aware that it is okay to ask for help, and it is okay for you to be vocal about your issues, because it's completely fine. Everyone deals with that stuff. And people are willing to help you. There's a bunch of sites. There's a bunch of phone numbers that you can call that can help you with whatever issue you may have. And you guys can even get counseling and stuff like that. But I want to talk to you guys about how I'm feeling right now, as well as how we got to this point. So I think it's no secret that we've been on here for about 4.5 years. Actually, it's going to be 4.5 years once we get towards the turn of the century. It's actually will be, well, not turn of the century, turn of the year. God, I can't think right now. So even if century's correct, I'm just all over the place. I just can't formulate. I haven't been able to formulate sentences correctly at all. Not that's anything different from what you guys see here on stream, but it's a lot worse than it usually would be. But I want to stress that we've been here for a while, and we've been helping out a lot of people. And of course, you guys have known that my romantic interests haven't really been all that high. It hasn't been super significant and stuff like that. But I had one about 2 years ago. It was during the winter of 2021 into 2022. And I wasn't doing the greatest that I could have done. I wasn't the best boyfriend that I could have been for this person, especially since it was a long distance relationship. And so she told me, she said I wasn't ready for a relationship. I wasn't ready. And I honestly agreed with her. I thought about it for a few days. I put myself in her position. And I said, I am not giving enough time to this person who I claim I love. We broke it off. And I felt really bad. Not terribly bad, because I'm going to be honest, my feelings for that person was starting to wane once we started to get towards the latter stages. And of course, that could have done a lot to my motivation in wanting to talk to her, but it still wasn't fair for her to be on the receiving end and not able to hear anything. Well, we fast forward to about April, late April, early May, starting to get into the summer. And another one of you actually came up to me and said that they liked me. They had a crush on me. And we ended up started going out sometime in the middle of July. That person was Becca Lynn. And some of you may know who she is. She's been in the chat as a moderator, which, by the way, regardless of, what happens between me and her, which I'll spoil it for you guys a little bit later, but I can't bring myself to just get rid of her moderator. She's always been a kind person to the chat. She's always been an amazing person to everyone else. And yeah, it's, she is a good personality to still have in the chat and to make sure that everything is in order. Now, of course, I'm probably going to want to get more moderators anyways, because I think our channel is growing at a pretty significant rate as of recent. But now, since a lot of people are already in the stream, I want to say this here real quickly before we continue. Any mention of this, any talk of this, after this point in any of my streams about the relationship between me and her, I don't want it mentioned at all. There's no disrespect whatsoever between me or Becca. We still love each other, regardless of the outcome of what had happened. So there is really no real hard feelings. So what I do want you guys to understand is she is a kind person. She is a very kind person. It's just realistically, things didn't work out. Things didn't work out between me and her. And it just happens. It just happens, guys, where things just don't end up working out the way you want it to. You can try and, wish for the best and wish for the future for both, for me and her, all I want, especially from the beginning. But realistically speaking, things didn't work out between us. And I'm not going to go into detail about what didn't work out or whatever. Because realistically speaking, it's not fair to me or it's not fair to her for me to expose what happened in our private lives. It doesn't need to be said on a public platform. But what I will say is that as much as I love her, I am hurt. I'm sick. It's been a while since I felt like this, and I'm sorry if I cry on stream. It's going to be one of the first times I've done it besides when my channel first started up and people were donating to me. And I was just like, oh my gosh, people were like supporting. And I thought that, you know, even just monetary donations and stuff like that were like so crazy, and there was no reason for people to like donate to a stream like me. But if I cry on stream, I hope you guys understand. I'm hurt. I'm sick. I've cried multiple times. I've sobbed more than I've cried. I've always had trust issues dating back to my previous relationships prior to YouTube, where I had my girlfriend stolen away from me from what I thought was my best friend. And you know, obviously there's nothing really wrong with it, but I mean, to me it is. A girl that I had that decided to swap the gender that she likes. Not transgender, but like she turned lesbian. And left me and ghosted me. All sorts of stuff like that. And even in high school, you know, I had some people that I thought were my friends that would take advantage of the type of person that I would be, because I don't want to say I'm the type, I'm a people pleaser, but if you're my friend, regardless of the shit that we've been through, and I apologize if I curse, I really do, but I'm defending my friend all the way. Like, if it's an actual emergency, to where someone needs me and they're a friend of mine, I'm fighting tooth and nail for them every single time, because I was taught from a very young age, whether it was in hockey or whether it was from my family and the culture that I was raised. I want to protect my friends, my family. And that's the type of person that I was. And I realized, even when I had crushes or in high school, or I had friends, they would always lead me on and use me for the type of person that I was. And I think it's safe to say that after high school, once that was all done, especially getting into my senior year when COVID started to happen and my channel started to really start in summer of 2019, my senior year, I just didn't care about people anymore. Because at the end of the day, I just never had anyone to really fight through the pain that I've had all alone. And I've been very fortunate since the start of my channel all the way up until now that I haven't had to feel a whole lot of pain. But you know, now since we're kind of split, I mean, she knew I had trust issues and stuff like that. You know, I think it's safe to say that even if things, you know, were best case or worst case, right? Which I'm not implying that she did anything, nor am I implying that I've done something. But once you kind of break up and you start to partake in that process of moving on, you start to, or at least I have, started to kind of go back to what I was. And you can ask all of my friends. You can ask Morgan. You can ask Riley. You can ask Tristan. You can ask Caleb. All these people that I want to go over to Oklahoma with, or any of my other friends that have been very close to me. They know that I don't trust anyone, including them. And it's so hard for me to say that, so disappointing for people to hear that because they're supposed to be my friends. And I'm supposed to protect them regardless, and I still will. I've done it multiple times. But I think the only time I've been able to open up and trust someone over the last stretch of my career here on YouTube was with her. And now, since we're not together anymore, it's very hard to find people to trust and to rely on, regardless if I know that people are there for me. And I'm trying to fix that, work on that, because I know it's not healthy for me to be alone. And Becca even knew that. Becca told me when I first told her that I had trust issues, she told me, she said, you need to work on that. You need to work on that. You need to fix yourself so that way you can try to trust, because when you put trust into people, you're allowed to put 100% into a relationship. And I remembered what my ex told me 2 years ago when I had that relationship, when I didn't give her all the time and attention that she needed. And she told me, she said I wasn't ready for a relationship. She was absolutely right. And I told myself, I said, whatever relationship I get myself into, which just because I'm done with this one doesn't mean I'm not going to search for another one, whether it's, back with her or with someone else. But I promised myself, I said I would give everything that I had. Everything. And I think the other thing that you can ask with my friends in the chat, the ones that know me very well, is I'm a very competitive person. I'm a very competitive person. I've always been competitive since the start of my youth hockey career, starting when I was 4 years old. Put that all the way through, put that to good use in hockey. I loved the sport. It taught me how to be a competitor, a winner, someone who knows how to conduct himself. And I know hockey players stereotypically aren't the greatest, but I promise you, I was taught in the correct culture to not be one of those type of terrible, stereotypical hockey players who are kind of idiots and stuff like that. And seeing that I was told that I lost in this relationship. I don't like to lose, and I haven't lost often, because if I ever wanted something truly, I wanted to put everything in. But I lost. I lost. And it's so painful. I was talking to my mom this morning, and I told her, I said, Mom, I'm a competitive person. I don't like to lose. I want to win. How can I win? How can I do it all the time? And she told me this, and I think she's absolutely right. She told me, she said, even if you were still playing hockey professionally or in college, or if it was back when you were in youth hockey still, or you went to nationals, because I did go to nationals to represent for my high school. Even if you did all that stuff and you played the best game of your life and you felt it, you pushed through it, you gave it all, you left it all on the ice, there's still times into which you can lose and still do everything that you can. And I don't want to admit that I've lost. But she's absolutely right. And because of that, I don't want to admit, and I'm never going to openly admit, because I still always think that, she and I, we brought out the best in each other, and we knew how to do it. We could hold each other accountable. We or a healthy relationship, not barely any toxicity whatsoever, even when we were, friends and stuff like that. But I've lost. I've lost this battle. And I want to let you guys know that I'm going to be dealing with this probably for quite some time. This is the third time I've cried today, and I've sobbed more than 10 times. I've had sick feelings almost all day, with the exception of the times into which I've called upon people to help me just not think about the pain, to which I have to shout you all out. Morgan, Tristan, Riley in the background, Krista, who is Morgan's girlfriend, although they're kind of complicated, and I wish the best for them because they're long distance themselves now that he had to move out to Oklahoma. But Krista has always been my friend. She always will be my friend because she's been nothing but good to me. All the people that were on Twitter and X that were saying supporting things to me and saying that I will get through this. All the people that are in chat right now that are telling me all positive things. I really do appreciate you all. But this is going to be very difficult for me to accept and to deal with. And because of that, it's just very difficult for me to accept and to be able to move on. So understand that though I'm not okay right now, I'm not okay, I will be okay. I'm not the type of person to hurt myself or want to commit suicide. That's not how I function. Regardless of what happens in my life, I know I have a purpose that I know everyone else does in the world, whether they think that they do or not. But I'm going to be dealing with this for a while. And though I'm going to continue to try and upload as much as I possibly can, tomorrow, for not just the reason of me being depressed and upset, I've got a quiz and I've got a lab that I need done. And though I've started on it, I haven't finished it. And honestly, I don't feel like doing it tonight. I don't feel like doing a lot of things tonight. But I ask for your guys' patience with me while dealing through this difficult time, because I'm not leaving YouTube. Not right now, at least. I have a calling to me right now, and I want to keep that calling all the way up. I don't want to take any more major breaks. I don't want to be away from this any longer. If I'm going to do YouTube, if I'm going to do weather, because I am in college, as I said, I'm doing Meteorology 101. That's my stuff tomorrow that I need to do. I just lost my train of thought. Oh my goodness. I told you I'm all over the place. But I ask that you guys have patience. I ask that you guys have patience with me and to still kind of understand. I'm not asking, the world, I'm not asking a lot. but I just hope that you guys kind of bear with me through this very difficult time. So as I said, just cliff notes. I'm going through a pretty serious breakup right now. I still love her, and I always will love her for the rest of my life. I'm always going to be there for her if she needs me in an emergency, because as I said, my friends, I will protect them. We may not talk a whole lot. I don't talk to Krista a whole lot. But if she ever needed me, I would go down there in a heartbeat and go help her out with whatever issues she's having. The same goes for Becca and for any of my friends. Because that's always been the person that I've been. Sure, I have no trust in anyone, which might be contradictory to why I would want to go protect my friends. And that is because I want to make sure that if I'm going to be with someone, friends with someone, lovers with someone, I'm going to want to fight for them regardless. Because that's what friends do. So. Alright. Come on, Nate. Still got things to do. So, once again, I don't want to hear any shit talking on me. I don't want to hear any shit talking on Becca. None of us have done anything wrong right now. I would like to think I'm a good person. She's a very good person. I know she is. So, any sort of mention of this beyond this stream, if we go into future streams, you can ask how I'm doing. But I'm not going to tolerate any sort of disrespect towards me or her. Don't make assumptions if you don't know. Because a lot of you people, actually, I should say not a lot of you, all of you people don't know what happened. And it, quite frankly, doesn't concern a lot of you. It doesn't change the fact that we're still good people. All right. We got that out of the way. I wanted to make sure that you guys knew, because I feel like transparency is a thing, and we've talked for 28 minutes. We haven't talked about Lee at all, and I'm supposed to be watching a football game later, but you know what? Honestly, we're going to talk about this right now because I think it's time for you guys to hear about weather and not about my sob story. So I know I got a lot of my friends sitting in Discord and stuff like that, and they're going to be watching the football game. I'm going to be late because I still have a job to do. I still have to talk about this. So here is Lee. This is Hurricane Lee, Major Hurricane Lee as of right now. It is a Category 4 hurricane. It will continue to rapidly intensify into a Category 5 hurricane. And, I mean, this presentation is just absolutely phenomenal. You can see a very symmetrical CDO, central dense overcast, essentially meaning that a lot of these clouds around it are pretty symmetrical. It's a circle and stuff like that. And because of that, it looks pretty intense. And the other thing that I can mention here real quickly is that notice how the eye earlier, it was wobbling, and now it's starting to shrink further and further. And that's because this thing is still going to continue to rapidly intensify. And when the eye starts to shrink more and more, it starts to force a lot of that actual, you know, moisture and that energy from the ocean heat content that's down below the ocean. The hurricane actually takes the moisture and the heat, brings it up all the way through the eye, and then puts the ventilation out. And that's why you have an intense pressure contrast between the eye and the outside of the eye. And so when you start to shrink that eye, you start to force it in a smaller tube. And I wish I had a little one of those keyboard blow thingy whatevers, because the best representation for that would be if you were to like push that and you were to force a lot of, you know, wind out of that to clean your keyboard. That's kind of what a small eye does. But if you were to take the tube off, right, if you were to take the tube off and then just to shoot it around, the force wouldn't be as significant. So because of that, oh yeah, that's right, we still have mental health check on the screen. My apologies. My apologies. But because of that fact that this thing is starting to shrink its eye further and further, but it is still relatively clear down the middle, this thing is still it is anticipated to be a significant storm, very significant storm. We can take a look at the cone of uncertainty as of this moment. It is a 130. Is it a 130? Hold up. Might be better for us to go back here. Did they update it? Yes, they have not updated it completely, so that's cool. I'm going to go back here. So here's the cone of uncertainty here from Hurricane Lee. Once again, this is Major Hurricane Lee. Right now, it is jogging off towards the north and west. It's actually west-northwest at about 15 miles per hour, so a little speedy, but not too speedy. And, of course, I mean, it's already a major hurricane right now. It is expected to continue to be a major hurricane once it gets closer and closer towards the Bahamas. Once we get after the Bahamas is going to be the real question. But I want to show you guys here off of Radar Omega. This is the track of what it's supposed to be. Right now, it's a Category 4. It will become a Category 5 by tomorrow. It's anticipating 165-mile-an-hour sustained winds within this area. And that's obviously a pretty significant storm. So I want you guys to understand that this is as significant of a storm this is right now. The good news is that it is over water. You can see the cone of uncertainty, which is where the center of Lee could potentially go. So it doesn't have to be where these circles are. It could be within certain spots of the cone of uncertainty, and it could track one way or another. But the center is anticipated to stay pretty far away from the northeastern Caribbean. And because of that, this is not really going to create a lot of hurricane, force impacts that are going to be, impacting land. Besides maybe the fish and the boats and stuff like that. So we'll see with that. One thing I also want to mention here, though, is that as this thing continues to progress, all right, if this thing veers onto the southern side of the cone of uncertainty, we could see heightened risk for tropical activity over here in the northeastern Caribbean. And because of that, the folks that are over in the Lesser Antilles, specifically the northern Lesser Antilles, as well as Puerto Rico, you guys are probably going to start to see stuff sometime around Saturday morning to Saturday afternoon. It is a slight possibility. It is a slight possibility. You can see here on the bottom right-hand side, that is the probability of you seeing tropical storm force winds or sustained winds over in that area. And so, once again, around Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, as this thing continues to move on through, is what you guys will need to continue to watch out for. I want to take a look real quickly because I want to see, and I think you guys are also very curious to see as well. Once again, the hurricane hunters have made a pass through Lee. They have found a minimum low pressure of 936 millibars, which is right around that intense Category 4. I would even say they could have potentially found something that maybe could be category 5. We'll have to see. We'll show you guys here with this thing here in a second. So we'll get that. I need the overlays, please. I need this. Is Mesoscale 1... I'm sorry for not being super organized. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't really prepare for the stream here today. I'm going to be honest. I didn't really prepare for it. And you know, I apologize if I seem like I'm all over the place today. I am. So, bear with me on that note. There we go. Look at that. All right, we have something. We have something. So, once again, the Hurricane Hunters, specifically the Air Force, has made a pass. There isn't any NOAA Hurricane Hunters out there at the moment. So that's the good news. But, well, that's not the good news. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind right now. All right, let's try that again. Let's not have a mental breakdown on stream. We can have a mental breakdown after the stream. After the stream. That sounds good, honestly. Because we'll see if I can sleep or not. If I can tire myself out and then get to sleep, oh, that is less work for me. Because I'll tell you what, over the past few days, I have not had a whole lot of sleep. It can or cannot be good, depending upon how you look at it from NOAA entering the hurricane. But they are on their way. They are on their way. They're moving out over there. I think they're going to do some missions tomorrow. I think they're going to do some missions tomorrow, if I remember correctly. I'll have to look it up. But, yeah, they are definitely doing some dents right now. Let me see. Can I get closer to this? Yes, I can. All right. So, first off, I want to put a probe, or I want to show you guys this probe here. They dropped a drop sonde in the eye, which further concludes that this had a pressure of 936 millibars. You can see it right here. All right, that's what I want you guys to watch out for. This surface sea level, right there. That's surface sea level. But the other thing that I want to show you guys here is the winds that they found when they were passing into the storm. All right. And what I want you guys to pay attention to is this SFMR peak 10-second surface wind. All right. You can take a look at the flight level winds if you want to, but flight level is pretty high up. I believe that is, yeah, it looks like it is about 10,000 feet above sea level. So that's not, you know, really near the surface, is it? So you want to pay attention to this SFMR peak surface winds. And the other thing that I also want to mention is that this doesn't measure sustained winds. It just measures what the winds are as the hurricane hunters are flying through that area. Gusts can actually sustain for about a minute, and maybe even a little bit longer, believe it or not. So the fact that this is registering winds within a 10-second increment doesn't really give you the whole picture as to what exactly we're looking at. So let's move on through as we get closer and closer to the eye. 65 miles per hour, 70, 74, 80, 83, 99, 112. Oh my goodness. 133, 160 mile per hour winds. That's 139 knots. 158. And then they entered the eye finally. It was pretty calm. And then they moved through the opposite side. 56, 107, 141, 165, 162. And some of these winds that are aloft is what? 170 miles per hour here at flight level. Can you imagine how turbulent that must be going through the eye wall if you're the hurricane hunter? I mean, I know you're paid to do it, but like, my gosh, you know, that's like, that's pretty crazy to say the least. So Yeah, this thing is definitely doing dents. And once again, that was the latest from the hurricane hunters. This thing has continued to show signs of rapidly intensifying. I think it's no secret that that's going to continue to be the case. As we, I want to pull up some of the websites that I have here. Actually, I'll pull it up on the side screen so that way I can actually move it over, because I don't exactly want to reveal some of my trade secrets, you know what I mean? But let's take a look at Lee real quickly. And first things first, I want to show you guys the ocean heat content. I told you guys that the ocean heat content is essentially the energy for tropical systems, and the energy is stored inside the ocean. So the further the heat actually spans with depth into the water, the more ocean heat content there is. And there is an abundance of it. If you're not in this blue or teal, you're fine. And this thing is expected to continue to stay over that over the next 120 hours. The one saving grace, however, is that eventually, if this thing continues on its trajectory towards the west-northwest, it is going to face this kind of pooling right here regardless, which is from the wake of what was Major Hurricane Franklin. And Franklin actually pulled the energy from the water and used it up, which means that there are less favorable ocean heat content values that are over here near the Bermuda area. So that's going to be the one thing to note. That's going to be the one thing to note as this continues to move about, because if it heads into those waters, then this thing is going to weaken. There's no doubt in my mind, regardless if this thing is experiencing wind shear or dry air, when you don't have sufficient ocean heat content values, you can't sustain a Category 5 hurricane, let alone a Category 4. So that's the one thing that I feel like should be noted, is that this is going to eventually move off into those conditions. The other thing that I want to mention here real quickly is, I'm going to pull this image. This is a perfect image for right now. This is from the satellite, and the satellite, which picked this up, when? 21Z, which was 5 o'clock Eastern. All right? 5 o'clock Eastern, this thing had a maximum wind of 111 knots, which for reference, 111 knots, I believe, is what, 125 miles per hour? Something like that. Which is honestly, like, pretty crazy. So, someone said I got, really? There's no way I got 50,000 subscribers already. I highly doubt that. Oh, no. I got to 49,300. Which, by the way, you guys are insane with that. But it still was thinking that the winds were not what they were until the hurricane hunters passed through and absolutely, you know, saw those jaw-dropping numbers. So that's one thing to note. And then the other thing to note here, I'm actually going to pull up another website here before we get into the models, because I do want to get into the models and I want to show you guys some new consistencies that are coming from the actual models. Let's use the color for, wow, that didn't update at all. That might be something interesting. Let's do weak. What if we do regular H? All right, regular H sounds pretty cool. Here is the microwave imagery here of this system right now. This was taken at about 4 to 5 o'clock-ish, so obviously a lot has changed over that time, but you can clearly see a well-defined eye wall. Well-defined eye wall all the way up and around. You can also see this outer band. Now, the one thing about this, and this is the one of the more unpredictable things about actually forecasting tropical cyclones, because it's very difficult to kind of determine as to when that could be. Models can have a general idea as to if it can happen, but sometimes, and a good example of this was Hurricane Dorian, is when you're expecting it to happen and it doesn't happen, then it just continues to get stronger and stronger and stronger. But one thing to note here is that watch for this outer band right here. If this outer band fully encircles itself around the inner eye wall, then an eye wall replacement cycle is likely to be possible, because what actually happens is that outer eye wall actually allows dry air to enter into the eye, which there's already dry air in the eye anyways, at least in the upper levels, which is the reason why you can see all the way down towards the ground, because the humidity is not high, and humidity is basically condensation. Condensation equals clouds. So what actually happens is dry air actually enters into the eye and starts to deteriorate that eye wall, and then the secondary eye wall actually starts to shrink in further and further, and that will be of course, the eye wall replacement cycle. It'll replace the actual eye wall. And some of the models actually say this. I'm going to show the half say, because I actually trust the half say more than any other model as of right now, because it's just done so well this season so far in regards to tropical cyclones. But you can actually see this come into fruition. I'll pull up the models and I'll try to make things easier for you to see. There we go. That sounds good, right? You can see that? And you can see, of course, time is up here. It's a huge blob. It looks like a giant buzzsaw. But what you'll see is that as this thing intensifies, and it's anticipated to be a 900 millibar category 5. Wow, that's absolutely insane. There's going to be a secondary eye wall that is going to form here pretty soon. And you'll actually see that it's trying to do it on this image right here. You can see it's trying to wrap on the outer edges. But it's such a powerful storm that whether or not it actually happens, we'll find out. But once it finally does do an eye wall replacement cycle, which could very well be tomorrow or Saturday, this thing will start to become larger. All right, so watch this. As this thing continues to move on through, it'll head further and further east. You can see there's the new ring right there. Look at that. See that? There's the old eye wall right there. There's the new one that's going to try to form. Watch that. And this is on Monday. So this is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And the other thing that I want you guys to notice is look at how small of a storm it was at this point right here. And look at how large it gets, contrast to what it was. Look at how large this system gets. It goes outside of the screen, which means that this thing will expand its wind field, which means areas that are over in the Bahamas and Bermuda are going to want to watch out depending upon where this thing goes. But this thing is going to be a Category 5 hurricane as it continues to meander through portions of the Western Atlantic. We'll go through some of the models here. I'm trying to look under my microphone because I can. And that is totally a great excuse. Totally. But I want you guys to kind of see some of the ensemble models and how things move on through. And I think ensemble models at this stage is probably going to be the most impactful thing to look at. Wow, that is a new deal for... Joe Burrow is now the highest paid player in NFL history. Jeez. That's crazy. But anyways, the ensemble members. I want to make sure that you guys kind of have a general idea as to what the hypothetical outcomes could potentially be. Now, keep in mind, when I show you ensemble members, it's the same model, but with multiple opinions. It takes like numerous amounts of runs and retries, if you will, for it to come to a general consensus as to where it could potentially go. So all these little red numbers that you're going to see is a ensemble member. And you're going to see, according to the GEFS, and we'll show you from the Euro here in a bit, that this thing actually moves a lot further off towards the south and west than it was originally forecasted to. I'll show you guys here a couple of the model runs that occurred way back when. We're talking, what, the 5th? So this is what, the beginning of the week here. We're talking Monday into Tuesday. This is what they originally thought Lee was going to do. It was going to be somewhere in this general area near Bermuda, which is right there, or south of Bermuda. But watch this here, guys, as we kind of speed run this back to the current model runs, look at how far off towards the southwest it gets. And this is where stuff starts to get pretty interesting, because we've been talking about a trough that's going to move on through. We've been talking about this ridge that's going to, try and steer it further and further. Now it's a lot more dependent upon what the trough does, because as you get closer to this stage and we start to get towards the mid stages of next week, this thing will start to turn north, and this will start to go further and further. The good news is it seems to me like Florida is going to be fine, because when the trough moves on through, it's going to steer it far enough away from it to the point to where it's going to be mainly off of the coast. There might be a chance to where it can try and meander towards the southern part of Florida and northern parts of Cuba, but I haven't really seen a whole lot of those opinions pop up. So I'm personally thinking it's a little unrealistic. But you can see as this continues to move up, some ensemble members take it pretty close over here towards New England and even eastern portions of Canada. So folks that are over there, once we get towards the mid and late stages of next week, they are going to want to watch out for the potential of some tropical activity that is going to move on through that area. Meanwhile, if we take a look at the Euro or the EPS here, ensemble guidance, you can see once again, here is where it is, and it's going to continue to move about. It's going to move towards that general area, towards the Bahamas. You can see that it has a couple anomalous runs that take it a lot further out to the west, and those are going to be something that we're going to have to watch, but this seems to be kind of resolved for the most part in regards to whether or not it can go into Florida. Once again, I haven't really seen a whole lot of opinions on that happening, but watch the turn towards the north, and the Euro thinks that sometime around Friday into Saturday, which is something similar to what the American model, the GEFS, said, could potentially impact some areas here in New England. And because of that, though we have a lot of time, I think people that are over here from the mid-Atlantic all the way up north, of course, Bermuda, a couple areas over here in the eastern Bahamas, and as well as everyone along the coast for rip currents, you all are going to want to watch and pay attention to the National Hurricane Center. All right, depending upon what all happens with that and what all they do, I guess we will see. But I'm looking at my phone here. I'm sorry. Something just happened on the side. Ah, boy. But anyways, yeah, as I said, this is definitely going to be something that we're going to want to watch out for. But we have a lot of time, and a lot of things can change between then and now. Personally speaking, what I mean by a lot of things can change is I'm more thinking about where it heads off when it goes to the north. That's what I'm more thinking about in regards to where that change could potentially be. And not it going through the Bahamas. Because once again, I really do think that is very unlikely. And I'll show you guys here what I mean with the wind shear, right? 200 millibar wind shear. This is our troughing. There's your trough right here. There's your trough that moves through the middle part of next week. This is going to bring a lot of wind shear, and it's going to push it. It's going to nudge it further. And this thing is going to get picked up by the trough, and it's going to move up. And depending upon when the second trough actually comes is when this thing also turns a little bit further towards the east. So it's kind of hard to tell, but we have trough that is currently in place right now. That'll stay up until the end of this weekend. A second trough that is going to move on through here sometime around Wednesday into Thursday, which is going to pick up Lee. It's going to surge it north, right? And then it's going to either continue to ride that troughing all the way up, or there's going to be another trough and another ridge, another high that's going to steer it further off into that general direction. Now, a lot of people are probably going to be asking, well, how strong is this thing going to be when it gets near New England? And my honest answer is, I don't exactly know. My best guess is that it will still be a hurricane once it gets to that point, but it'll be such a large hurricane that the wind field will be so expansive all across the board. So, yeah. If you're in New England, or if you know anyone that lives in New England, I would tell them to pay attention. I would tell them to pay attention to what all is going on. Take a look at a recent update here from the satellite imagery of Lee. So I told you guys this wasn't going to be a super long stream. I said it was going to be for 30 minutes, and then I talked about my mental health for 30 minutes, which, if you want to know about my mental health, start the stream over. I guarantee you'll understand how I'm feeling. I'm not going to upload tomorrow. I am not going to upload tomorrow. So I'll turn off storm mode for a day. I do have some college stuff that I will need to do. So it's as much as I want to blame it on me being upset and depressed and stuff like that, I realize that I still have obligations. I still have stuff that I need to do. You know, there's a song that I actually, and I'll leave you guys off on this actually, because I would answer a couple of questions, but honestly, no offense, I just really don't feel like being on here for a lot longer, and that I probably need to head to my friend group to try and, you know, get some comfort from them. But I remember having this song. It was when I was in sophomore year of high school. I think it was 2017 into 2018. They had a pep rally. They had a pep rally of this dude by the name of Humble Tip. And he was trying to rally up the people that were in the pep rally, such as myself, to become the best versions of yourself and not hang around specific friend groups and stuff like that that are bad for you in toxic situations. And, you know, be better for yourself. You know, it's always good to communicate. If you're going through abuse or depression and stuff like that, you want to continue to talk to each other. And, you know, if you find the right crowd, people will take care of you. But his persona was more of a rapper, more than anything. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of his songs are not that good. I mean, it got its point across, but I just really couldn't vibe to it. With the exception of one. There is one song that I'm trying to speak to myself and into my head to try and continue to push me on, will me on, trying to get me to move on. As much as I don't want to move on, because you guys know me, I still want to fight. Even when I think I've lost, I still want to fight and stuff like that. But the song is called Can't Put Me Out by Humble Tip. I recommend you search it up on YouTube and give it a listen. It is a amazing song. And the thing of it is the chorus for the song is pretty interesting. I'm actually going to pull up my YouTube music on the side. Or actually, I'm sorry. I can't look at the lyrics. But I can tell you guys what the lyrics are in the chorus. It goes like, I got dreams and I got goals. I'm gonna make it even if they don't. Can't put me out. Can't put me out. But what he would do in the pep rally is he would ask for the crowd to repeat after him. So when he would say, I got dreams, everyone else would say, I got dreams. When he says, I got goals, everyone else says, I got goals. When he says, I'm going to make it, vice versa. And we would get to the point where he says, can't put me out. We'd say, can't put me out. And he would add the yeah, yeah. And you'll hear the yeah, yeah in the background as well. And for the past 2 days, I've been trying to will that song back into my head because that song did help me through the issues that I had through high school, the trust issues that I had. Of course, there were other songs, but I'm not going to go back to those songs. If I go back to those songs, then I'm going to start to use hate as a coping mechanism. And you guys want to hear the song? All right, fine. Let's hear the song. Just keep in mind, we could get copyright claimed. But honestly, I'm in such a good mood right now to try and share this with you all that I honestly don't care. But this is very similar to NF. Very similar to NF. Right? Actually, let me find it from a different thing, because the way that I'm getting it through this playlist is unfortunately the playlist that me and Becca created, and that's just going to make me sad even more. So let's try and do that. And I'll show you guys here the album. It's called Beautiful Tomorrow too, and he would always tell us, you know, you're going to have a beautiful tomorrow and stuff like that and whatnot. And honestly, I might ask him if I can play these songs at the ends of my stream, because it honestly is an amazing song. I really do think so. So who knows? I might try to get in contact with him to see if I can license his song to put it at the end. But anyways, here is the song. It is called Can't Put Me Out by Humble Tip.
I got things that I wanna be. I got things that I wanna see. Everybody telling me what my reality is, but I'ma tell them exactly what it is gonna be. And I know it's gonna take hard work, dedication, gonna take a little patience. Everybody gonna wonder what I'm doing while I'm waiting. Man, I hear a lot of things, but just know that I'ma make it. I got too many depending on me, no time to be feeling lonely. It's me and my squad only. Yeah, I used to have a whole lot of homies, they acting like they don't know me. My circle is dying on me. And I don't wanna do this alone, but I'ma do it if it's putting mama in a new home. Half of y'all won't even get this, but I'ma make it with God as my witness. Yeah. I got dreams.
I got dreams.
And I got goals.
I got goals.
I'm gonna make it.
I'm gonna make it.
Even if they don't.
Even if they don't.
Can't put me out.
Can't put me out.
Put me out.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't put me out.
Can't put me out.
Put me out.
Yeah, yeah. Cause I got dreams. And I got goals. I'm gonna make it. Even if they don't. Can't put me out. Yeah, yeah. You can't put me out. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All I know is I can't stop dreaming like I'm living in the Matrix. And all I know is I'ma make the most of it, even if I don't make it. My time and my energy sacred. I ain't playing, dog, I won't waste it. Hard work is the blueprint to life success. Give me a pencil, cause I'm about to trace it. Why the world they hate it? Cause I'm trying to speak the truth. I'm trying to do every single thing I need to do. Land a hit after hit, give them no recoup. Heat the boot, jump and then release the shoot. Boy, I come from the vine like a piece of fruit. I'm a top general, please salute. A lot of MC playing with this gift of rhyme. Don't throw them all out, I think that we could keep a few.
I got dreams, and I got goals. I'm gonna make it, even if they don't. Can't put me out, put me out. You can't put me out, put me out. Nah, cause I got dreams, and I got goals. I'm gonna make it, even if they don't. Can't put me out, You can't put me out, Yeah.
I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. Don't get me mad, I'm in my zone. I'm gonna take it. I'm trying to be everything called to be. I'm trying to do right with all my deeds. Trying to be like, can you see me? I hope you're seeing that I'm trying with my energy.
I'm coming back full of energy. Even though they try to finish me, I will not begin to be. They wanna make fun, gotta watch for your frenemies. Yeah, cause everybody don't wanna see you make it. It's your time and you gotta take it. When times get hard, don't just back up. Homeboy, you gotta chase it. I got dreams, and I got goals. I got goals. I'm gon' make it. I'm gon' make it. Even if they don't. Even if they don't. Can't put me out. Put me out. Put me out. Put me out. You can't put me out. Put me out. Put me out. Yeah. Cause I got dreams. And I got goals. I'm gon' make it. Even if they don't. Can't put me out. Put me out. Put me out. Put me. You can't put me out. Put me out. Put me out. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's practically the end of the song. It'll continue through this kind of interlude a little bit, but that's basically the song, and I've been trying to imprint this into my brain. This is how I've been trying to recover. And I've been trying to take the lyrics of this song, which honestly everyone should abide by. Everyone, if they want a better life in front of them, you know, just listen to the lyrics. It tells you exactly what you need to do. So once again, it's called Can't Put Me Out by Humble Tip. I've been trying to implant this song into my brain. And sometimes I feel so happy, like I am right now. Like just listening to this song right now, I feel so confident in myself again. I don't even feel bad. But I guarantee you, either later on tonight or tomorrow morning, probably later on tonight when I try to go to bed, I'm going to feel terrible. I'm going to listen to this song, and it may not completely help. It may not completely help. But if I keep putting this vibe, this energy into my brain, and I just try to just go with it. If I try to go, run with it, I'm gonna be in a better place. It's gonna, as I said, it's gonna take a long time for me to recover. It will. I don't know how long. I don't know how long. Once again, I'm still gonna upload YouTube videos and stuff like that, but realistically speaking, you know, not being in this relationship hurt. And the last time something as bad as this happened, although this might be just a tiny bit worse, so could honestly make an application for the lowest moment in my life. But I just lost my train of thought. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I told you I'm all over the place. Wow, I am absolutely losing my mind. But anyways, I don't know how long it's going to take for me to get better. The last time I did it took about 2 to 3 weeks. Although it didn't help that, you know, my best friend kept bragging about it every single time in front of me. So that kind of also delayed it beyond 2 to 3 weeks. But realistically speaking, yeah, that's where we're at. That's what I'm at. Once again, no upload tomorrow. We won't be publishing a video tomorrow, nor will we have a live stream. I got college stuff that I need to do. I need to make sure I get that done. And of course, I'm gonna want to take a little bit of a break from a lot of things. So, but I am gonna upload on Saturday. So that's gonna be pretty consistent. But yeah, if you guys want to know why I'm upset, go back to the beginning of this live stream, and it takes 20 minutes. Actually, no, it doesn't take 20 minutes. It takes 28 minutes. It takes 28 minutes. But go listen through that again. As I said, listen to this song called Can't Put Me Out by Humble Tip. This is what's trying to keep me sane right now. I recommend, though it may not be the greatest sounding song in the world, you listen to the lyrics, it'll speak truth to you. It'll speak soul to you, and you'll be able to get through a lot of things. It'll obviously take a lot of time, but you just got to keep the same energy. So, all right, I think that's going to be it. I have talked about me being upset more than I've talked about weather. And if I talk about it anymore, I'm gonna cry for a fourth time today, and then I'm going to sob for whatever this is now. What? I've sobbed more than 10 times today, so I'm gonna try and keep this mood going into my friend group, because we're gonna be watching football tonight. I have no idea who's winning the Chiefs-Lions game right now, but honestly, I just want to hang out with my friends. I have not been able to trust anyone, and technically I still don't, but I just need company. That's what I need. I need company, and I'm going to try and use them. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this live stream, this update of me and my mental health, as well as this tropical system, hit the thumbs up button down below. Subscribe if you're new. Turn on notifications. You guys know the whole drill, honestly. I wanted to be as transparent with you all as I possibly could be, because I feel like you guys owe, or I feel like I owe you guys as a community, because we are building this together. I owe you guys an explanation sometimes about how I feel and what some of my plans can be and stuff like that. Because realistically speaking, and you guys may say that, you know, you guys are not owed anything. We are a team. We are a team. That's what our community is. And our community allows us to get information out to people who could possibly need it. And that is what we want to do. We want to try and help people understand meteorology a lot better. We also want to go in depth with it so that way people know exactly what's going on, and we also want to make sure that people can understand that though stuff like this can be serious, you know, we want people to be more prepared for this than anything. So, all right. That's going to be it. I will talk to you guys on Saturday. It'll be a video we're going to upload. And it probably will be in the late afternoon, early evening. I'm thinking sometime around 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. It could be 1 hour later, so just watch out for that time frame. But that's around the time in which I'm going to upload my video. So make sure you guys come back around that time period. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, everyone.